We're very excited about UCM joining the ASV family. Unfortunately, it took me a while to get my old-fashioned right, so I'm on my sixth one, so we'll have to figure out how that's going to work out here. But I was hoping that maybe you could give us a quick overview of UCM and the opportunity.
Yes, thanks, John. Thank you so much. First of all, it's like a cruel joke putting me right after like group Indian dating. Like, I mean, seriously, like we had Conan and his intersection of intelligence and silly. And now we've got to like wrap it to like the intersection of like digital health and emergency medicine. But I'll do my best. So yeah, I mean, the biggest thing to sort of recognize with us is really we've created an offering that really enables all care to begin digitally. And when I say offering, what I mean by that is this unique sort of combination of our highly trained emergency medicine team of physicians and PAs and paramedics and nurse practitioners and care coordinators, and combining that with our proprietary technology that sort of takes that emergency medicine knowledge and has productized it. And it's that combo that really allows all care to begin digitally for our partners on a shared platform that really will hit the triple aim: lower cost, improve outcomes, and create a better patient experience. So, just quick update on our traction. We're really a mission-driven company. We're provider-led and we're patient-focused. And that has sort of allowed us to build a valuable product and offering and then build volume. So over the last 5 years, we've been sort of proving our point employer group by employer group, and then larger employer group by larger employer group, until we finally hit our ultimate goal of landing our first couple of health plans. And now it's time to scale. And, we're really excited. We outperformed 2020. We have a 6 million plus run rate on essentially no outside capital. And now bringing on ASV, we're incredibly excited to take it to the next level.
It's an exciting story, and in the last year, I know we've seen an acceleration of the move to digital in healthcare. What have you seen, and how has this really impacted your plans and your planning for the company?
Oh my gosh, it's incredible. So kind of back to like where Adam said, like where he had mentioned, boy, if he started his group Indian dating like now, maybe the timing would have been right. Well, I can tell you that is absolutely the case, right? And a lot of people say, oh, is it the team? Is it the product? Well, timing might be more important than both team and product. And the timing couldn't be better right here. So digital health was on a steady upward trend in healthcare over the last really decade. But it really took the COVID crisis and the pandemic to sort of completely hockey stick it. And sort of the biggest winners are going to be those that sort of have already created a unique opportunity and have begun to prove value, but haven't been so entrenched in sort of the decade-old sort of analog digital health that they can't sort of pivot and create the new opportunities. So this is really, it's rare to have a real tipping point and live through one. And I can tell you in healthcare, we are all going to look back on March as a true tipping point where healthcare began to catch up with the rest of the world as far as its digitization.
Yeah, and sometimes you see, right, the markets need a forcing function. This is an interesting forcing function, but it's going to be interesting to see how it ultimately plays out.
Yeah.
One of the things, at ASV, we strive to be a helpful and valuable partner. And I was just, wondering if you'd share a little bit about how you see us being able to help you guys out going forward, just beyond the capital side.
Oh, well, I have to say, you guys have already proven to be incredible partners. So, Somac really has been, it's been 6-9 months plus that I've known Somac. And, I've gotten to know, much of the ASV team. And, as a provider-led organization, we were pretty nervous about taking, institutional capital, because we didn't want it to change the mission. The mission to us is everything. And Somac and the team have been right in there from the start, really proving that they're more than just money. They really are real partners that want to create real value in the healthcare system, which we're excited about.
Excellent. I appreciate you saying that, Keith. And like I said, we're excited to be part of it. Last question. You began your career in emergency medicine. Can you just touch upon a little bit about the job and become a technology entrepreneur and what that journey's been like so far?
Honestly, that was easy. It was the patients. So myself and Dr. Vivekaus, we worked in the ER for almost 2 decades, and the world seemed to be sort of trying to blame the patient or punish the patient, really trying to say like don't go to the ER, don't go to these urgent cares, you should be doing something else. And we recognized the need that the emergency room was the safety net for society. And people vote with their feet. And no matter how hard that society tried to keep them out of the ER, people continue to come see us. So we knew if we could, again, I use the word productize, that sort of amazing sort of team environment that happens in an ER, that it gives patients such comfort when they're sick or they're injured, that we can really do something special. So that was really what drove us, is just that patient every day, bring it to the modern day.
That's excellent, and it's a great story, and we're glad to be taking the journey with you going forward. Thanks for being here today, and thank you for your leadership at UCM. And up next is a presentation from our Fund 2 company, StorySlab.
Not sure where your next sales call will be held? Meeting standards are changing quickly, but the need to lead sales conversations and hit quota remains. That's why your sales team needs an adaptive sales tool so they can execute their next pitch smoothly and effectively and reach their sales goal in the process. When sales and customers make a connection, results happen. In person? No problem. StorySlab has features that give salespeople access to all the content they need, no matter where the conversation goes. Need to pitch remote? StorySlab natively works with web conferencing tools, so you can quickly and easily present and showcase your brand's library of products and solutions, making remote conversations feel face-to-face. However your team needs to sell, StorySlab equips them with the content they need so they can drive engaging sales conversations and empower them to close more business faster. Show more, sell more. From anywhere. StorySlab.
Well, that was great. Thank you very much. And you'll recognize our next guest from that video, Hans Fuller, who's the CEO of our portfolio company, StorySlab, up in Syracuse, New York. Hans, how are you doing today?
Very well. How about you?
Welcome.
Everybody else is doing well.
So, hey, needless to say, 2020 was an interesting year, right? And so you had a lot going on also at StorySlab. So I was wondering if you could share some of the highlights with our group today.
Right. I'm sure it was interesting for everybody. We closed the round on April 3rd, which was, I guess, the day we all learned to spell pandemic and figure out that we were in one. Right. So very interesting timing. I remember having a lot of phone calls with SOMAC and the other investors in the syndicate. Just trying to figure out, like, hey, is there any reason why we shouldn't do this? Maybe are there even more reasons that we should? And we obviously came together and closed that deal and continued on. And then that was just the beginning of a lot of adjustments that we had to make during the year since we closed that round, right? You saw the video. Our traditional focus has been really on sort of the toughest use case, like outside salespeople, not connected, sort of out in the field, need tools to carry a good flexible conversation. And all of a sudden, all those people that for whom we had built a tool were sidelined, selling remote. And so we had to pivot on a couple of things, or maybe adjust on a couple of things. One of them being like, hey, the sales conversation is just as important as ever. So how do we enable those same people to have a conversation, with their customers remotely? So we had to adjust a little bit the product itself, make it a little bit more web presentation friendly. And then we also had to adjust how we were selling it, who we were selling it to. A lot of uncertainty on our customer side. We served a lot of industrial B2B companies, and there's some obvious winners and losers, I guess, in a COVID environment. But you have to dig a little deeper to see whether a certain industry was really helped or hindered by COVID. So 2020, I guess I could say we really focused on filling the funnel as quickly as we could, trying to get as many at bats and have as many conversations across as many different industries and buyer types. If you look at some of the numbers here, so in that process, we're also able to grow our recurring revenue by about 50%. But the next data point over there, the 80,000 outbound calls, that's a lot of phone calls, right?
From 200?
Yeah, right. And I can't say that everybody picked up, but like obviously we're working our way to conversations and demos, and working our way through, again, growing that ARR and putting more customers on the platform. And I would say
that's all. You're right. That's all part of like building the foundation, right? So to me, it seems like 2020 was very much building a foundation for you. And now as we go into 2021, you've got the top of the funnel cooking. It's nice and robust. And, I understand there's some really interesting things going on and planned for 2021, including potentially hiring or you've hired a new CRO.
Right, exactly. And I'll introduce him here in a second, and he'll say hello and give some of his insights. But in general, we see trends, from content to enabling salespeople, more towards data-driven insights for optimizing sales conversations. And I think we're well positioned to serve this, still kind of underserved part of the process, which is kind of the real-time communication, kind of what's needed, to adjust and flex to like very changing landscapes in terms of what buyers' needs and how they need to be communicated with. And we're sort of heavily instrumented these tools, so that we are immediately gathering data and have the insights to basically to prove our worth and sort of help our clients optimize their sales process and their revenues. So you sort of mentioned some changes. I will introduce Brian Wool. I think he popped on here for a second. Maybe we can get him back in, and he can say hello and He's been with us a couple of months. Came from SaaS industry and has come up the curve very, very quickly, and I think he's at a point where he's got he knows enough to be dangerous. So we'll see what he has to say here.
Yeah, thanks, Hans. Steve, thank you very much. What I've learned in my experience in leading sales team, it's never one big thing. It's a lot of little things. And so, some of the things that we're doing in 2021 is refining our ideal customer profile, building out personas, developing some different messaging that really hits on, what our true value proposition is. And then I think, more importantly, or most importantly, is, implementing a sales process that we can measure, and then, executing on all of these little things that, we're doing. And, Steve, you're right that, 2020 was a foundational year in that we built an incredible amount of data. And, so I have the luxury of, executing on, what the team learned in 2020 and, continue on, a great path forward. So, happy to be here. Great session, and look forward to more of them.
Oh, well, we're happy to have you here at your first of hopefully many. We're very excited, Hans, to have StorySlab be part of the portfolio. And Brian, I know, in the words of Glenn Ross, you'll always be closing. And in closing our little session here, next we'll introduce a presentation from Jorsec.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, all.
Is your documentation uncertain, unorderly, chaotic, confusing? Is your documentation a mess? Content becomes isolated and disparate between different systems, emails, and departments. This affects all your business outcomes. Speed, collaboration, customer satisfaction, and the bottom line are all at stake. The typical documentation timeline looks something like this. But in reality, each stage has unique challenges and bottlenecks that stem from our content mess. Reviewing, in particular, is often brought to a standstill by old-fashioned workflows and product experts short on time. You can solve these problems by centralizing your documentation, review cycles, and all activities into one system. EasyData is specifically designed as the single source system for your documentation. Fully collaborative, cloud-based, and faster than any other system, EasyData centralizes your documentation development from start to review to publish. How does EasyData do this when other systems fail? EasyData is the only XML editor that allows simultaneous collaboration for multiple user roles, with no user limit or performance slowdown. It's also the only system specifically designed for the reviewer's experience, so they can complete their reviews right away. The interface is intuitive, and with a single click, Reviewers are delivered to the exact point in the document that needs review. No more follow-up requests, just completed assignments. Fast. EasyData is the review system you've been waiting for. Create an assignment in seconds. Get reviews in moments. Accept or reject with ease. View the status of every review workflow. No more reconciling PDF comments. Our customers have seen their review cycles cut by as much as 40%, and their overall time to market reduced by 60%. With EasyData, cost of content can be reduced by as much as 90%, help desk volume drops by as much as 40%, and publishing time is virtually eliminated. Centralize your documentation, streamline your workflow, and publish faster than ever with EasyData.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patrick Bozick. I'm the CEO of Jorsec. Last year was a great year for us, and I want to give you guys a little bit of an update on where we are and what we're working on. That video. Our system is used to really efficiently deliver knowledge and product content for our customers' customers. This is a really exciting market to be in right now. The things have changed so rapidly in the last couple of years, but then definitely last year in a much bigger way than really ever before. Organizations are realizing today just how important their knowledge infrastructure and their different content management practices around it are to their teams and to their overall efficiency and ability to interact with their customers. So you kind of have all these things coming together at once. You have the real acceleration and maturity of digital experience, full digital transformation, even in some more legacy industries. And then you've had this huge propagation of work from home and people now having to do their jobs remotely. And all of this has come together into creating a moment where almost all large organizations are rethinking their knowledge infrastructures. So this is really exciting for us because we've been in this industry for quite some time. And it's been growing steadily for a long time, but this is like a really new moment in the evolution of the industry. So we're very excited about that. So last year we had a great year. We had continued steady growth. We almost doubled our customer count last year. So our logo acquisition last year was great. We continued our excellent retention. Every year in the history of our company, we've been over 95% retention and over 100% retention in net dollar value. Last year it was the same. I think it was actually right in that same range, somewhere in the high 90s. Which is, exceptional for a year where a lot of organizations were really struggling, and there was a lot of uncertainty in the market. So we're really happy that our solution continued to be seen as a core and important part of everybody's technology stack and their content ecosystem, and it was really, a mission-critical piece of technology. The other thing we got done last year is we really nailed down our leadership team, and for me, this is probably equally as big. It's something that has, is really, really significant. This is the first time in the history of the company where I felt like the whole team is in place. We have somebody who's covering all the major roles. It's working really, really well. And it's doing the things it's supposed to do. And that just feels really, really good. The last position that we filled in this was our CRO position. And I don't believe Eric is on here, but I can't tell because I don't have that access, because he was actually just on a sales call. So he had to, sales more important, right? And we're really excited about Eric. He's doing a great job putting in place an actual formalized strategic sales structure and sales team for the first time in the history of the company. So, one of the things that we saw last year in a bigger way than we've ever seen, but we've always seen throughout the history of the company, is that awareness has driven growth. So we've grown really naturally. We've grown by organizations just realizing we exist and what we do, and then coming and asking us to do it for them. So I think whatever you see awareness translate into growth, that's a really strong indicator for an organization. But at some point, if you want to really turn on the afterburners and go faster, and you're in an enterprise software as a service environment, I think you do have to have a formalized sales structure, and Eric is putting that in place, and that's just really exciting for me. So, this year we're going to start to see the fruits of that labor. We're going to start to see the benefit of Drupal. Last year, almost all of our KPIs for marketing are like 3 and 4x. So it was a really good year in terms of like top of funnel, top of the pipeline. And we're also seeing, this really, as I was discussing this renaissance in knowledge management, and we're seeing that the way that we approach it is a little bit unique. It works really well for a portion of the market. It's not for everybody, but like that's something that is exciting to me, because I think that when you have an approach to solving a problem that aligns really well with a subsection of a large market, like that's the best scenario. You don't have to go out and boil the ocean. You're not going to be competing against like Microsoft to like go after this huge broad market. You can be focused, but your section of the market is still really big. And it's going to give you a bigger moat. It's going to give you higher margins. It's going to give you faster growth. And we're seeing that emerge inside of our current customer base. And we're seeing it really strongly represented in the new outbound activities that we're doing. So like all indicators are pointing in the right direction, and we just feel really good about it. I guess I'll end on saying that we're right on the end of a fundraising process. It's going really well. We've got a couple of term sheets in, and we're looking for 1 or 2 more, and we should have that closed up in March. That's the update.
Sounds great. Thank you, Patrick, and thank you for running with it, as I had some technical difficulties there at the beginning. So, but great to have you with us, especially since I know you jumped off a sales call to join us for a few minutes. So thank you for that. Now back to you, Somak.